Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the last episode, Rintaro accompanied Maho Hiajo to the 8th floor of the radio building, where Kurisu Makase was killed. And Maho revealed that she had her suspicions of Rintaro from the moment they first met. And that she believed that he might have actually been hiding something from her about Kurisu, which of course just so happens to be the truth. But it's also revealed that she was the one who delivered Kurisu's laptop and hard drive to Daru to try and break open the encryption code that he designed, by the way. And also, she has a few of Kurisu's belongings from America. Now we're outside the store that houses Daru's so-called secret job. The store was jammed full of cosplay outfits, although I actually have to say, now that I really think about it, in terms of misdirection and subterfuge, this place actually isn't entirely bad. The wall near the entrance held the new arrivals corner and popular cosplay sections, as well as cosplay wigs, ribbons, jewelry and prop-ups. I don't think anyone would ever suspect a cosplay store of being the home of a secret wizard-class hacker. The other wall held the used outfit section and a shoe section with stocked with socks, school shoes, heels, and boots. Even further back I could see rows of school swimsuits and competition swimming outfits. It looked like the place sold mainly to girls, but this wasn't a location where clearly wasn't a location where women would feel comfortable. The other tenants in the building were all shady shops with names like Drop of the Spirit God Incorporated, Space Radio Receiver Sales, and Flower Petal Video Project.
君はここには来たことが
I think the look on her face says no, Rintaro.
いいえ、前に会った時は別の雑居ビルだったから。同じような怪しいお店だったけれど。
Of course, it seems that Maho has already met Daru in person.
そうか
Apparently in a very similar locale, it would seem. I felt like I'd seen Daru's dark side. The shop was completely silent. There were no customers other than us. There was a thin man with long hair at the counter who looked like he worked there, but he didn't even raise his head up from his magazine when we came in. To be honest, ever since I'd entered, I was worried that someone would think I was up to something illegal. Anybody who saw me would think I was a pervert taking a middle school girl to a shady cosplay shop. And speak of the devil, there's Daru. Daru appeared from the back of the shop. There'd been no sign of him a second ago. Apparently Daru is a ninja now, surprisingly. Yeah. We already know that Maho Hiajo is your mystery client, by the way.
そのマホタンというのやめてくれないかしら。
なんでかわいいじゃん
First of all, I don't think she ever wants to be considered cute, as in kid cute, and speaking of which, number two, she isn't a kid, so you can drop the tan honorific.
バカにされている気分だわ。
そんなことよりダルお前どこから出てきた
The man at the counter hadn't said anything, which meant they knew he was here.
とりあえずこっち
Daru headed to the back of the store. I wonder if these places are really a front for Daru's activities. One of the rows of hanger racks holding idol cosplay outfits was pulled forward, and behind it I could see a curtain. Past the curtain was a tiny space that led to a door marked staff only. Does this mean we're about to meet the man behind the curtain? The Wizard of Oz? If that hanger rack hadn't been moved, I'd have no idea this was here.
まるで忍者屋敷ね。
A place worthy of a wizard-class hacker, it would seem. Behind the door was a cramped office. Well, no, the room may have been pretty big, but it appears to be crammed full of more anime DVDs than I could ever watch. By the way, I've been to several retail stores that have entire shelves crammed to the brim with anime DVDs and memorabilia. Here's the thing you have to know about anime. Even if you have an entire wall chock-a-block full of as many anime DVDs as you see in this particular office, even if you were to watch every single one of them from beginning to end, every single episode or movie or whatever, even if you had the time to consume all the anime currently displayed here in this office, you'd still only be absorbing a tenth of all the anime in the world, which is actually pretty staggering and terrifying when you think about it. Yeah. You could probably count on one hand the amount of people who have actually watched every single form of anime in the world, from beginning to end. It's a truly Herculean feat, if I do say so myself. The darkness made it feel very cramped, not to mention the 5 or 6 computer monitors here, along with various anime memorabilia and some other things. So basically, this is Daru's home away from home. It was honestly hard to breathe. There were 4 desks in the center, surrounded by metal racks. The desks and floor were piled high with all manners of computers and peripherals. There were boxes and bags littered everywhere. I couldn't tell if they were trash or not. There were towers of magazines, games, plastic models, and figurine boxes, so they're not all anime DVDs, although they look like that, although I suppose they could be manga books, I guess. And the desk was covered in garbage just like the one at the lab. It was too dark to tell, but I was sure the figures he had on display were covered in dust. And what did he need 6 monitors for anyway? Well, he is the superclass hacker. Each of them displayed an image of the store. Evidently it was footage from a security camera. Given the size of the store and the lack of customers, even 3 cameras would have been too many. Seems like Daru is exceptionally paranoid when it comes to this sort of thing. Yeah, sit down, if that is the right phrase.
座れる場所なんてないぞ。
今スペース作るよ。
Please don't tell me you're gonna make a space on the floor. Daru kicked aside the boxes on the floor to make room, and then set down 2 folding chairs. Well, I suppose it's something.
この店とはどういう関係なんだ？
バイトリーダーみたいなもんかな。結構こういうアングラな店のバイト掛け持ちしてるんだよね。
So basically you're a hacker for hire, so to speak.
でさ、たまに事務所を個人的に使わせてもらってるわけ。
I suppose that allows you to get a certain number of contacts.
裏のバイトのためにか？
そういうこと。
That pretty much confirms it. Maybe there was a lot more to Daru than I thought.
ここにあるものは全部お前の私物か？
いや、他のバイトのみんなとの共有財産的なやつ。さすがにこんなにたくさん買えるほどお金持ってないし。
I had a feeling that was the case. Or so he said, but who knew if that were true? Maybe this really is all Daru's. And apparently we're getting a message from Amadeus Kurisu. Let's see what she has to say.
なんだ？
あんたまだ真帆先輩と一緒よね。
Yeah, that's true. And it seems you're somewhat worried about her, Amadeus Kurisu.
Oh.
Has something
Oh.
happened?
一緒だが。
どうかしたの？
レスキネン教授からたった今聞いたんですが、
Dr. Leskinen.
和光市のオフィスが何者かに荒らされたって。
Apparently someone's ransacked the Brain Science Institute office.
あと真帆先輩のホテルからも連絡が来て、そっちも誰かに侵入されたみたいです。
And also someone's ransacked Maho's hotel. Clearly they're looking for the laptop and the hard drive.
なんですって？
It seems mystery conspirators are getting a little
すぐにレスキ
impatient.
ネン教授からも連絡があるはずですけど、少しでも早く知らせた方がいいと思って。
Well, thanks very much for telling us in advance, Amadeus Kurisu. Good job, as they say. Although, that doesn't really help.
ありがとう、クリス。
Seems our situation is getting a little
ヒア嬢さ
worse.
んのことは俺とダルで見てるから大丈夫だ。
But we'll make sure that Maho is safe.
そうね。頼むわ。それじゃ。
Fairly well. Disconnected. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to step up our game. Maho looked down and bit her lip.
懸念していたことが現実になったな。
Yeah, looks like the noose is tightening.
狙いは間違いなくクリスのノート PC とハードディスクだ。
Hopefully something among the belongings that Maho has might be a key, a clue to the password.
え、マジで？
Yeah, although to be technical, it's not actually the physical laptop and the hard drive that they're interested in. It's the information stored in both of those items that they're
場
actually
所を変えた方
after.
がいいかもしれない。
ここは安全だと思うけど。
As much as I would trust you, Daru, and indeed I do, given the fact that CERN on the Alpha World line were completely unable to track you via hacking, we still need to be careful.
なんとなく嫌な予感がするんだ。勘みたいなものだ。
Yeah, if whoever's after the laptop torched Kurisu's house and her mother's house, these people were playing for keeps.
わかったお。
Heaven forbid that they actually find their way to the future gadget lab.
それでノート PC とハードディスクはどこに？
Yeah, that is a very good question. Where are they? Daru sighed and grabbed a locked, fire-resistant case off one of the racks. He opened it. Well, that's security, I guess. Is this where he hid it? Seems so. And there they are. The laptop was the deep red Japanese model with a 12-inch LCD screen. The hard drive was American, from a brand known for equipping its drives with a shock-resistant rubber case. Well, we have the goods. Now we just need the key.
それを持って急いで出よう。
Both Maho and Daru nodded silently. There we go. Time to get out of Dodge once again and try and find a way where we can actually we can try and crack the password. As soon as we left the building, I could see a car coming down the empty alleyway. It was a big American RV. We quickly hid ourselves in the shadow of another building. My intuition was right. It seems they followed us after all. The RV stopped in front of the building we just left. 3 men came out. None of them were Japanese. They were all dressed in black suits, almost like MIBs. Those of you who don't know what MIB means, allow me to explain. Men in Black, an American urban legend. It is said that they are secret government agents who appear without warning before UFO witnesses or researchers to put a stop to their activities. It's not known whether any such secret agency actually exists. The name comes from the fact that they dress all in black and wear black sunglasses. A movie of the same name, loosely based on the urban legend, helped popularize the idea. That would be the film starring Agent Will Smith as J and Agent Tommy Lee Jones as K. Directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, if memory serves. Of which there is a trilogy and a spin-off cartoon series, not to mention a series of comic books. Whatever they weren't Akihabara tourists. But something's not right. That was close, too close. How could they have known that we were here, if indeed they were looking for us? But even if they weren't looking for us, how would they know about this place? Something's off. Maho went pale when she saw the men go into the building. She seemed to be shaking a little too.
こんなのまるで映画の世界だわ。 とても現実とは思えない。
First Russians, now the men in black.
でもさ、あの連中は店の情報どうやって入手したんだろう。
I would really like to know the answer to that question myself, Daru. Their timing was too perfect. I don't believe any of us leaked the information, but that begs the question.
誰がヘマしたんじゃないのか？
No, I'm pretty sure he didn't, Rintaro.
僕を誰だと思ってる？
スーパーハッカーだろ。
ハッカーな。足はつかないように注意してるっつうの。
Which means they found us out via another method.
または俺とヒアジョーさんが尾行されてた可能性もあるが。
That could be the case, in which, well, although they don't seem to know where we are now, so, because if they did know where we were, then they wouldn't have run into the building.
怖いこと言わないでよ。
Unfortunately, this is a scary situation.
ヒア嬢さんがずっとマークされていたのは間違いない。
So someone else is keeping tabs on us, it seems.
あ、そうだわ。
Maho seemed to suddenly remember something. She took out her smartphone and made a call.
教授に連絡しないと。
She's apparently trying to get in touch with Leskinen.
今日はどこかに身を隠すと伝えておいた方がいい。教授と合流すると、教授にまで危険が及ぶかもしれない。
That is certainly true. Maho nodded. Seems we're safe for the time being. And now we're switching to Maho's perspective. Rintaro took Maho to Ferris Nyanyan's home. As of this moment, much like Bruce Wayne's penthouse in The Dark Knight, Ferris Nyanyan's apartment is now the safest place in Akihabara. It was on the top floor of a high-rise building in the center of Akihabara. If nothing else, it was sure to be more secure than the ancient building they'd just been in. Ferris welcomed the two of them, offering them food and a place to sleep. Daru returned alone to the Future Gadget Lab to meet up with Suzuha. Speaking of which, we need to keep tabs on the time machine at all costs.
このノート PC は存在するだけで災いを呼ぶだろう。
And Rintaro once again speaks his mind, and actually, believe it or not, I think this is the first time that we're actually talking to Rintaro in the third person.
手放した方がいい。
Of course, Rintaro is intent on destroying whatever information is contained on the laptop. There's just one problem with that. If my own intuition is correct, then if we get rid of the information, then whoever is hunting us basically has no incentive to, well, they have no incentive to harm us, but then they have no incentive to keep us alive should we need something to bargain with. And besides, the information on the laptop and hard drive could very well be the key to solving this case. Once they both calmed down, she started to talk to him about what they were going to do with Kurisu's computer. He didn't budge an inch. Usually he was an introvert who never pushed too hard for anything, but this time he was extremely stubborn. Of course, so was Maho.
せめてロックを解除して中身について確かめたいわ。今のところそれもできずに手詰まりだけれど。
Of course, as long as it's in that position, it's a bit of a hot potato and a smoking gun, but the information inside could actually be invaluable to us. At the very least, we'll know what Kurisu was trying to keep hidden.
そんな悠長なことを言っている場合じゃない。今すぐ手放すべきだ。一番いいのはこの場で破壊することだが。
That would be good, except for the fact that I will reiterate that if we destroy that information, what if they find it with us? What if they find us without it? That's the better
破壊するって
question.
これはクリスの形見でもあるのよ。
君はもう少しロジカルな人間だと思ってた。
Let me throw a little bit of logic to you, Rintaro Okabe. If Kurisu thought the information was so dangerous that she couldn't keep it on her person, Would you think that she would keep it on a laptop instead of destroying it herself?
私はあなたがそんな冷たい人だとは思わなかった。
Of course, as far as he's concerned, as far as Rintaro Okabe is concerned, Kurisu Makase is dead in virtually every respect. Maho's words made him flinch. Something bad had happened to him. That's how it seemed to her. If only you knew the true extent of that sentiment, Maho Hiajo. And it was easy to assume that it had something to do with Kurisu. So she decided to ask him what she hadn't gone to earlier during the fuss this afternoon.
あなたはクリスの事件について何か隠しているように見えるのだけれど。
You're certainly right on the money. However, it has absolutely nothing to do with whatever conspiracy is going on at the moment. At least, not directly.
俺の知ってることなんてどうでもいいような話だ。
Maho could tell he wasn't going to share. If they hadn't been interrupted this afternoon, would he have told her? Definitely not.
それよりこの PC をどうするかだ。これはもう友達の形見なんていう私的なレベルのものじゃない。
Indeed, but if we get rid of the information forever, then we will lose our only in, as it
国家
were.
規模での争奪戦を引き起こす代物なんだ。
一体どんな陰謀論よ。
Believe it or not, Maho, this is not a conspiracy theory in the
こ
slightest.
の後に及んで陰謀論だと言い張るのか。
Though Rintaro does have a point.
君も見ただろう。あの黒服の外国人たちを。
Of course, the more you say, the more you seem suspicious, and eventually it's going to come to a point where you're going to reveal your secrets inadvertently.
君の通うオフィスも寝泊まりしているホテルも荒らされた。
And that was no
クリ
coincidence.
スの自宅だって放火された。その放火事件の後、君の研究室に FBI を名乗る謎の男たちが調査に来た。
Too many unknowns.
前にホテルの駐車場で襲われたことだって、もしかしたら関連があるかもしれない。普通なら絶対に遭遇しないような出来事が立て続けに起きている。これは偶然じゃない。
Indeed. It's all connected.
だからって国家規模だなんて。
The whole thing just seemed like too much of a stretch for her. Trying to connect every single event was a trap that conspiracy theorists often fell into. But in fact, most things that happened didn't really mean anything. When she began to tell him that, what he said next surprised her.
事態はこの先、ジョン・タイターの予言通りに進むだろう。
Probably a bad move to let that particular cat out of the bag about John Titor, Rintaro. Although I guess at some point he was planning on telling Maho at some
ジョン・
some
タイタ
point.
ー？
Maho had never heard that name before.
10年前にアメリカのネット掲示板に現れた人物だよ。2036年からタイムマシンに乗ってやってきた自称未来人だ。
Well, it's a very good thing that Suzuha isn't here right now, Rintaro, because I think she would be worse than livid having heard how talkative you suddenly are. you're not going to tell about your involvement with Kurisu's death, but you are willing to throw Suzuha under the bus? That is very uncharacteristic of you.
俺はそいつが本物だと知っている。会ったこともある。ジョン・タイターによれば、2015年には第三次世界大戦が起きる。
Of course, goes without saying that, well, if the people involved are who we think they are, then Maho's going to find out sooner or later.
その原因はタイムマシンだ。
Regardless of whether or not Rintaro tells her or not. Oh, by the way, yeah, that thing you were saying about time machines, Maho, that's all
馬鹿にして
real.
いるの？
至って真面目だ。
Indeed, Rintaro is always serious, don't you
中
know?
鉢博士のことを知りたがっていたな。奴はクリスの父親だ。
And just like that, the penny drops. Nakabachi's real name is Soichi Makase.
中鉢論文にはクリスが関わっていた可能性がある。
Of course, Rintaro knows this to be a fact. You're tipping your hand rather suddenly here, by the way.
なんですって？
But I suppose it's a way of somehow clearing his conscience. Maho had read Dr. Nakabachi's paper out of curiosity. Last summer, he'd proudly announced this paper on time travel to the entire world just before fleeing to Russia. The paper itself, however, was so poorly written that it was of no value whatsoever. She couldn't even believe that Kurisu might have been involved in writing it. That's because she wasn't. She wrote a completely different document that was plagiarized by Nakabashi. Rather poorly, I might add.
論文は劣化版で、もしもクリス自身が書いたオリジナルが存在するとしたら。
But Nakabachi would have had the actual copy in his possession, which is now in the hands of the Russian Federation.
クリスの残したノート PC とポータブルハードディスク。その中身が実際のところ何なのかは関係ない。
It may not matter right now, but it could actually matter at some point in the future. Getting rid of it would be premature.
それを手に入れたがっている連中がいるんだ。
Of course, if we were to somehow break the code and get the information off of both of those devices, then we might have a window of
ちょ
opportunity.
っと待って。少し整理させて。
Of course, we dropped this particular bombshell on Maho on the worst possible moment. But then again, that's always been Rintaro's style. Could what Rintaro's saying be true? She took a moment to think. Normally she wouldn't give something like this a second thought. But what had been happening around her lately just wasn't normal. She couldn't outright deny it, not after this point. Besides, she was nursing a conspiracy theory of her own.
私もこの PC が狙われているかもしれないという予感はしていたのよ。
Given what happened in America, that's certainly true.
あなたの話は私の予想とはあまりにもかけ離れすぎていて。
Of course, everything seems to be converging once again.
予想とは。
アマデウスの軍事転用のことじゃないかと考えていたの。
That's certainly an interesting conspiracy theory in and of itself.
軍事転用。
But speaking of which, remember the world line in which Rintaro and Fubuki went to? The world line that was being ravaged by World War III? The American military, for some reason or rather, had possession of Amadeus Kurisu of all things. So that begs the question, did the military somehow abscond with Maho and Leskinen's research on Amadeus?
クリスは精神生理学研究所にもよく出入りしていたんだけど、時々場違いな連中がそこにやってくるって言ってたの。
Ah, so that lends credence to my theory that this conspiracy has been unfolding long before the events of July 28th, long before Rintaro and Kurisu ever met. Psychology Lab, one of the labs at Victochondria. While the Brain Science Institute attempts to understand the processes behind thought and memory by explaining the systems used in the brain itself, the Psychology Lab's goals are more medical in nature. They develop new medical treatments by researching the biological and physical effects caused by the mind's workings. The lab's research covers a wide range of areas including perception, recognition, reflexes, learning, sleep, alcohol addiction, and schizophrenia. And apparently the men who were visiting the lab, Kurisu believed that they were from the Department of Defense, otherwise known as the DoD. It's also known as the Pentagon due to the shape of the building it's located in. It's America's most high-level defense agency, responsible for controlling the Army, Navy, and the Air Force.
Amadeus で人を殺せるのか？どうやって？
例えば百戦錬磨のパイロットから記憶データをコピーして無人戦闘機の制御に使うとか。
That's a very dark, out there scenario.
あと以前話した医療への応用覚えてる？
人間の脳へ記憶データを書き戻すってやつかな。
Basically, the final step of the time leap machine process.
記憶データを修正した上で書き戻しが可能になれば、恐怖を感じない兵士やどんな非道な任務でも平然と遂行する部隊なんていう恐ろしいものまで作れてしまう。
Wait a minute. The heckler from the crowd who suddenly assaulted us out of the blue beforehand. Are you telling me that his brain was rewritten in some way?
私はてっきりクリスがそういった実験の証拠を偶然知ってしまったんじゃないかと思っていたの。
So all is not as it seems at Victochondria at all. It seems that much like the time travel research, Kurisu's own research on neuroscience is being perverted for nefarious purposes, which is just as terrible. And I thought things were bad when CERN were running the show.
アマデウスの研究には米軍が関与していたりはしないよな。
If they are involved, then they will certainly be another power player on this chessboard.
するわけないでしょ。
Let's just hope that that's the case and that you're right.
本当にそう言い切れるか？君はあくまで研究者であってプロジェクトの総責任者じゃない。
Something tells me that eventually we're going to have to talk directly to Leskinen.
レスキネン教授だって軍に関与なんてさせないわ。
Although judging from his behavior, Liskanen seems pretty protective of Amadeus Kurisu as well.
だよな。あれは別の世界線の話だし。
And Rintaro let slip another, letting slip the fact that time is indeed being altered.
世界線？何のこと？
Yeah, we're going to have to bring you up to speed sooner or later.
いや、忘れてくれ。俺の考えすぎだと思う。
Of course, there is the very real possibility that the phenomena that affected Rintaro, Fubuki, and all those other patients may yet happen again, and the world line may alter. Now, we have no way of preventing that if it happens. He hadn't seemed like he really meant that, and that really bothered her. She wanted to hear more about John Titor, but he didn't tell her anything else. Since she couldn't crack the security on Kurisu's laptop and hard drive, it did Maho no good to carry them. And just like Rintaro said, those attackers scared her. So she decided she had no choice but to give them to him. He didn't tell her whether he was going to destroy them or not. Or if he was, he would have already done so.
Maho, 無事でよかった。
And it's Liskanen back at the Brain Science Institute. Apparently he's in good health. When she arrived at their office in Wako City, Dr. Liskanen was already there. He came over and gave her a big hug. As he usually does.
苦しい。
おう、すまない。ははは。
Yeah, you're too friendly for your own good there, Liskanen. You don't know your own strength. She'd heard that the office had been ransacked, but whatever had happened had already been cleaned up.
教授が片付けたんですか？
荒らされたと言っても、もともと私と魔法しか使っていなかったわけだし、荷物も多くなかったからね。
Well, that's actually kind of odd, because there is one other thing of importance that is being kept here in this area, and that is Amadeus.
あとは警察に任せてある。
Of course, I'm not doubting Amadeus' security, but still, they could have actually made off with the hardware. 2 days had passed since the office had been ransacked. Maho had spent both of them in Favours' home, and only today had she gotten in touch with Liskanen and gone to Wako City to get her things. They were both going back tomorrow, just as planned. So they're heading back to America. That meant they were saying goodbye to this office.
犯人はまだ捕まっていないんですよね。
Something tells me that it was no cat burglar looking for a small amount of petty cash, that's for sure.
日本に来てから災難続きだな。
Indeed. First an assassination attempt, now
で
this.
すね。
And at the center of it all is Kurisu Makase. The two of them looked around the empty office. It had been a busy 2 months.
魔法はどうだったかな。日本はもう一つの故郷でもあるわけだろう。感想は？
早く大学に戻って研究に打ち込みたいですね。この2ヶ月資料をまとめてばかりだった気がするので。
Apparently, Maho really wants to return to Victochondria.
魔法は真面目だね。
Well, she is a serious scientist,
それ
Liskanen.
とクリスが最後の時間を過ごしたこの国の空気を感じることができたのは良かったです。
She was finally able to visit the place where Kurisu was killed.
Maho.
But she still hadn't figured out why Kurisu had died. Actually, she had even more questions now. It bothered her to go home with so many questions unanswered. If only Rintaro had told her everything he knew. But then, for him, things would have only gotten much worse.
そういえば
The thought suddenly occurred to Maho.
アマデウスのテスターの件はどうします？
That's true, Rintaro is still technically the tester of Amadeus Kurisu. Of course, he meant Rintaro Okabe. If Maho and Leskinen were heading back to America, that meant his time as tester was over.
そうだね。
So it looks like Amadeus Kurisu is being revoked. For some reason, the professor was taking a moment to think it over. She wondered what there was to think about.
テストはこのまま続けてもらおうと思っているんだが、どうだろう？
Are you sure leaving Amadeus Kurisu in his hands is a good idea, given everything that's been happening so far? Under any other circumstances, having him as a long-distance tester might actually be a good thing for the Amadeus research. But given the situation...
本気ですか？
実際、リンタロウと話すことで、クリスはこれまでにないような反応をして見せているだろう？
I don't think this is the time or place to continue that
今後は
research.
彼だけでなく、もっと多くのテスターを使っていきたいとも考えているところだし。
Well, this is news to us, much less Maho. What do you mean by that, additional testers? Does that mean for Amadeus Kurisu, or Amadeus in general?
セキュリティの面で不安があるのでは？ ア
Maho
メリカと
raises
日
a very
本だ
good
と離れ
point.
すぎていて、何かトラブルが起きた時に対処できません。
大丈夫さ。私はリンタロウを信じているからね。
いや、信じるとか信じないという話ではなくてですね。
それにテストを継続すれば、魔法だって定期的にリンタロウと連絡を取れるよ。
Looks like Leskinen is trying to bait us.
私は関係ないでしょう。
そうかい？
You're starting to sound like Amadeus Kurisu there, Leskinen.
そうですよ。
では今後のリンタロウとの連絡は私が直接取ることにしよう。
So Leskinen is going to deal with Rintaro directly.
別に構いませんよ。
It still seemed like he wasn't telling her something, but she was too embarrassed to question him further. It surprised her though that he was so focused on Rintaro. He seemed to have taken a real liking to him ever since they first met. Did he simply like the guy? Or was it because he was Kurisu's friend? Or was it something else? She didn't know. Anyway, it seems we're at the airport. The next day, Maho and Dr. Leskinen returned to America via Narita Airport, just like they planned. Rintaro had come to see them off, and he was very surprised when Leskinen told him he could continue being a tester. I think he was just as surprised as Maho was. And then a year, or half a year passed. That's a very long time gap. Achievement unlocked, Pandora's box. And now we're on to the next chapter, Guiana's Stigma. Is this chapter 4, I think? Either 4 or 5. Probably 4. Victor Convier University's grounds were dead quiet. It was after 11 p.m. Some of the labs worked all night and into the morning, so the place wasn't completely abandoned. But compared to daytime, it was quiet. The lights in the halls were off, and it was a little scary walking down them alone. Also, the interior is much different than that of the Brain Science Institute, I'll say that much. Maho lived in the researchers' apartments next to the lab. She'd been thinking about so many things that night, it felt like her head was going to explode. And then she looked out the window and realized that the lights were still on in the brain science lab. Dr. Leskinen must have been working late. She decided to put some coffee in a thermos and take it to her.
そもそもなんで私はタイムマシンの研究なんかに没頭しているのかしら。
Probably due to the stuff that Rintaro has been saying so far, not to mention other reasons. Ever since she'd come back from Japan in January, she'd spent all her free time on it. Even she had to admit that she was getting obsessed. Of course, since this wasn't something she could research in public, and since she couldn't let it interfere with her real job, she had to do all of it in her own room at night. As a result, she was staying up late battling with physics textbooks, an unfamiliar subject to her. Exhaustion and lack of sleep was starting to get to her. The whole idea of a time machine was stupid. She still thought so, but she was surprised how desperate she was getting.
それもこれも岡部さんのせいよ。
Indeed, it's all because of Rintaro. What Okabe had said to her in Japan still stuck with her. About John Titor, about world lines, about everything. But not entirely everything.
中鉢論文にはクリスが関わっていた可能性がある。
And then there is the time travel thesis that was written by Kurisu Makase and plagiarized by Nakabachi. The very thing that is the catalyst for this nightmare of a conspiracy that's unfolding. Rintaro could have been lying or wrong or simply delusional, or D, none of the above. But part of her wanted to believe that it was real. Of course, from what she'd seen from Dr. Nakabachi's paper, she didn't want to believe that Kurisu was involved. It was just that bad. But
論文は劣化版で、もしもクリス自身が書いたオリジナルが存在するとしたら。
yeah, safe to say that Nakabachi is a terrible plagiarist. After all, if his work was derivative of John Titor's, and that too was an inferior plagiarist copy if ever there was one. Unfortunately, as bad as Nakabachi's paper was, it still held a little kernel of truth, and that could have been all that he needed, or at least the Russian Federation needed at any rate. If she could have written it off as a slim possibility, everything would have been so much easier. But it was just like her, she thought, to be unable to do that. I want to find out what Kurisu found. That desire was what drove her to action. But the more research she did, the harder it seemed. It was so hard she was starting to lose faith in what she wanted to believe. Her usual complex started weighing down on her.
クリス 私やっぱりあなたにはなれない。
Try as you might, you could never replace her. I think if you really wanted to be Kurisu Makase, you should probably start spending all of your days and nights browsing @channel forums and learning @channel memes. Kurisu was her dear friend, but at the same time she was starting to feel jealous, frustrated, and hateful. And when all those feelings started going around in her mind, there was no way she could focus on work. It was time to chat with Dr. Liskinen for a little, then go to sleep. She headed over to the lab, thermos of coffee in hand.
教授、
Yeah, Maho.
It's a very elaborate looking lab, if I do say so myself, and Liskinen is actually wearing a lab coat for once. Something tells me that Rintaro would certainly be impressed by this setup, and if it could actually have this sort of setup at the Future Gadget Lab, then it might actually be a laboratory for real, and not just a place to hang out. Dr. Liskinen seemed surprised at her sudden visit, but he stood up from his chair and welcomed her.
どうしたんだいこんな夜中に。
Well, we saw the light on and we brought you coffee.
子供はもう寝る時間だよ。
Reminder, Maho Hyajo is 21 years
その
old,
言葉そっくりそのままお返しします。
and you're one to talk, Liskinen.
違いない。
Still the eternal child, I see. Dr. Liskinen laughed innocently, like a child, at her cutting remark. Seems like nothing can
私
truly
の部屋
faze
から
this
明かり
man.
が見えたものですから。これどうぞ。
An offering of sorts. The cup on Dr. Liskinen's desk was empty. She poured him some coffee from the thermos. It wasn't the sticky, sweet cafe au lait that she liked. She made it straight black to match the professor's tastes. The room was filled with steam and a pleasant smell. I normally prefer either plunger coffee or a flat white myself.
これは驚いた。魔法がカフェをご馳走してくれるとは。
And Liskinen is uncharacteristically
私だっ
serious
て
for once,
このくらいの気は利きますよ。
でも君はこういうのが嫌いだっただろ
It's
あれ
certainly
は
true.
確か君がこの研究所に来た最初の日だったかな。メリーがみんなにモーニングカフェを配って回っていたら、君はそれを断ってこう言ったじゃないか。
I think we're about to find out.
あなたはカフェを入れるためにここに勤務しているのですか？その時間があったら早く仕事を始めてはどうですとね。
Yeah, that definitely sounds like Maho.
いやいや、すごい子が来たものだと驚かされたよ。
そんな古い話今さら持ち出さなくてもいいじゃないですか。
Maho's cheeks swelled in embarrassment.
あの頃はその天才少女とか言われてちょっといい気になってたというか、何もわからない子供だったんです。
Well, it seems like Maho was the girl genius of Victor Condria University. That is, until Kurisu Makase first appeared.
ちゃんと反省はしています。
That we do. Mary was another scientist at the lab. After Maho had apologized, they'd gone on to be friends.
本当に教授は意地悪ですね。もう二度とコーヒーなんて持ってきませんから、そのつもりで。
Just as she was thinking of taking the coffee she'd poured back,
そうですよ、教授。あんまり先輩をいじめないであげてください。
quiet in the cheap seats, Amadeus Kurisu, even though you are defending Maho there, by the way, so by all means. She heard a voice from Dr. Liskinen's computer.
あら、クリス。
Apparently Liskinen has been having late-night conversations with Amadeus Kurisu,
はい、
it seems.
私です。
ちょうど彼女のプログラムの検証中だったんだ。
She moved around to where she could see the monitor, and sure enough, the Amadeus Kurisu CG model was displayed on it.
こんばんは、先輩。
こんな時間までご苦労様。
Ever the diligent scientist, are we, Amadeus Kurisu? Maho chuckled to herself. Amadeus Kurisu was just a program running on a computer, but she still couldn't stop herself from saying things like that. After all the time they'd spent together, Amadeus Kurisu was no different than a human to her, much less to Rintaro Okabe.
別に私は魔法をいじめてるわけじゃないよ。メアレイトの件だって私は魔法を好ましく思ったものさ。極めて合理的でクールでしかも面白い子だとね。
I suppose we could take that as a compliment of a
だ
sort.
から私の助手になってもらったわけだし。もちろん今の優しい君も嫌いじゃないけどね。
Dr. Liskinen gave her a wink as he reached for his coffee cup.
ありがとう。いただくよ。
As he drank his coffee, he grabbed the corners of his eyelids and gave them a little massage. He was acting cheerful, but evidently he was really tired.
プログラムの検証って何をしていたんです？
ああ、今まとめている論文のあれだよ。
Apparently, Liskinen writes papers of his
アマ
very
デウス
own.
が嘘をつくメカニズムですか？
その部分のプログラムが解析できると人間が嘘をつく仕組みももっと詳しくわかるんだがね。
As interesting as that sounds, programming an AI to lie could actually be a bit of a grey
女性の
area.
嘘は時に重大な秘密を含んでいます。それを暴こうというのは感心しません。
Amadeus Kurisu's expression was deadly serious.
何も君の嘘を暴こうって言うんじゃない。嘘をつく時の思考の過程を知りたいだけだよ。
まあいいです。何か暴露する羽目になったらまず真帆先輩が隠してる甘い秘密を喋ることにしますから。
That's a bit of a cheap shot and a low blow in one move, Amadeus
ちょ
Kurisu.
っとおかしなことを言わないでちょうだい。っていうか甘い秘密って何？
なんでしょうね。
It seems that Amadeus Kurisu is being coy. She played dumb. Sometimes Kurisu liked to joke around. It was infuriating and at the same time kind of cute.
例えば
It seems like Amadeus Kurisu is about to spill the beans. Probably should kill it before it spreads, as in stop it in its
ゲームセン
tracks.
ターで 彼に取ってもらったぬいぐるみの件、私が気づいていないとでも？
Yeah. It would stand to reason that Amadeus Kurisu would know about that. The first thing she thought of when she heard the word arcade was what happened back in Akihabara, Japan. She tried so many times to get the stuffed animal and failed each time. Rintaro won it easily after about 10 tries and had given it to her.
あれが何？
And of course, the one who encouraged him to do this was none other than Amadeus Kurisu.
ずっと先輩のベッドに置いてあるんですよね。
何をバカなことを言っているの？あれはクリスのお母さんへのお土産よ。
That's where we got it in the first
じゃ
place.
あなんで先輩の部屋に？
Though Amadeus Kurisu raises a very good point.
だってお母さんは新しい家をまだ探してるって言うし、それまでは仮のアパートメント住まいだし、引っ越しの時の荷物になったらあれかなと思って。
Seems that Amadeus Kurisu is having way too much fun at Maho's expense.
本当ですか？
Typical Kurisu.
本当よ。だいたいあのぬいぐるみは私にとってもクリスの大事な思い出なんですもの。抱いて寝るのがそんなにおかしい？
I think you're digging your own grave there, Maho Yajo.
やっぱり先輩のベッドにあるんですね、あれ。
Fell for the bait and switch trap.
しかも抱いて寝てるなんてとってもキュート。そのあたりもっと詳しく教えてください。
What a monster. That stupid computer program had tricked her. By the time she realized it was already too late. Both Amadeus Kurisu and Dr. Liskanen, who had been listening the whole time, were smiling at her. Yeah. She glared at them, her cheeks flushed.
これはどうやらクリスの勝ちのようだね。
Yeah, looks like we've been trounced.
勝ち負けとか関係ありません。もう私は寝ます。おやすみなさい。
And it's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night. She turned to leave Liskanen's office fuming. But before she could leave, Amadeus Kurisu got in one final parting shot.
先輩、もう1週間も岡部と連絡取ってませんよ。忙しいからといって連絡をおろそかにしていると後で後悔しちゃいますからね。
あのね、どうしてもあなたは私と岡部さんをくっつけたいの
Maho stormed over to the monitor, but Amadeus Kurisu seemed unconcerned.
たまには直接会ってみたいなって思ったりしませんか？
思いません。
そうか、残念だな。
Certainly a quick nod there for Maho. For some reason, Liskanen shook his head sadly.
近々また共同研究で日本に呼ばれているんだ。その時、リンタロウに連絡を取ってみようと思っているんだ。
Was that Rintaro, or that Liskanen was going to catch up with Rintaro again in Japan?
魔法も一緒に連れて行こうかどうか悩んでいたんだが、これはやめた方が良さそうだね。
She'd heard nothing about this. Most of the time, whenever the professor had a project coming up, she'd hear about it through the school's network ahead of time.
日本へまた行くんですか？
It's rather sudden.
Huh.
It seems that Maho has nothing to respond to that. She had to stop herself from immediately saying that she wanted to go too. If she did, Leskinen and Amadeus Kurisu would make fun of her again. But she didn't want to miss this chance. There was still a lot she needed to do in Japan. More than anything, she wanted to talk to Rintaro in person, about the time machine and about Kurisu. It definitely was not because she liked talking to him.
ぜひ私も連れて行ってください。
It seems that Maho Hyajo wants to return to Japan after all. Well, I believe that is it for this episode of Let's Play Steins Gate 0. When we return, we shall see if Leskinen decides to take Maho with him back to Japan once again, and whether or not Maho can finally confront Rintaro and get the answers that she's been looking for this whole time concerning Kurisu Makase's murder. As always, until next we meet, adventurers,